Welcome, welcome, welcome to Viv's Art and Garden. Today I'm painting with my new watercolors. I'll link them below. And I've got a little dish that I am mixing them in, and I've picked out a nice little color palette that I think would be pretty for spring because I'm going to do some home decor. Now, I already went ahead and made a little oval here. I just traced out an oval, and now I'm going to make a guide for my flowers where I want to place my flowers. And I'm thinking about making my flowers different sizes, cluster them in odd numbers. Odd numbers are always more pleasing in a composition, and that would be like a cluster of 3, 5, 7, 9, whatever like that, or 1. 1 is an odd number. And so that's what I'm thinking of. I'm also thinking about different sizes, different shapes, different types, and different colors that I'm going to include in my little bouquet here. And I also want to maybe add some flowers that are behind other flowers, maybe some flowers that are more panicle shaped, um, and things like that's what you want to think about. So I have my guide finished now. It'll be a good time to invite you to join my patron. My patron members at the $5 a month tier, they will get an outline drawing, complete supply list, color mixing guide, a little reference, and of course they can ask me anything that they want inside of my patron or on my YouTube community about this project. So if you're interested in that, I will link it below. I also have a $3 tier. You still get bonus content related to my videos. Now, the $5 a month gets more than that, but that's just what they're going to get related to this video. $3 a month will probably get a coloring sheet related to this video. So I'd like to invite you to join that, and hopefully I'll see you over there. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my pink paint ready. We're going to paint some roses. Now, I've already painted these roses several times on the channel. I think everybody has this rose on their channel if they do art. And you just do, I say, a little yin and yang symbol in the very center of your rose, and then you just do little curved brush strokes, sort of overlapping them in a little spiral around that center. And then I like to dip my paintbrush in the water as I go out toward the edges, just to lighten up the petals as they go toward the edges, and then darken up that center. So what I do is just get a little darker paint and drop it right into that center on the wet spots, and then we're just going to let that dry. Now I'm going to mix up sort of a coral color pink, almost orange color. And we're going to do some of the smaller flowers, the smaller cluster of flowers. I had to look to see what color I was mixing. And what I do here is I just decide that there is, or pretend that there is, a little imaginary center. And then I just do messy petals around that center. I vary the shape of the petals, the length of the petals, because that makes the flower look like it's pointing different directions, and not just, if you do all the petals the same length and the same size, then the flower just looks like you're looking straight at it. But if you take like the bottom petal and make it a little bit shorter and not as long as the top petals, then it looks like it's curved up a little bit. So practice that. Experiment with changing the shapes of some of your petals on your flower to make the flower look like it is concave, or if it's pointing up or pointing down. Then I'm just taking a little bit of that vermilion and I'm darkening around the center of my flowers while they're still wet, so that I'll get that nice wet and wet blend. And it also gives it a little more visual interest. Now I'm going to go on to my little hydrangeas, and I have switched to a really small, well, I've gotten a really small brush for this. I'm using the Pro Art brushes from Harriet DeWinton. I ordered those from her Etsy shop. I love these brushes for small detailed work. And what I'm doing with my hydrangeas, of course, they're a big ball. The flower is a huge ball, but it's a bunch of tiny little florets, just little tiny flowers. So again, I'm pretending that there is a center, and I'm just doing 4 little flower petals around each center. And you can make them as big or as, well, don't make them too big, but you can change the sizes of each floret. You can overlap them if you want, or you could do 1 or 2 petals. It doesn't have to be 4. You can do 1, 2, 3 petals. Make it look like they're kind of, peeking out from behind the other petals, because in a hydrangea, they are all clustered and they're really packed in there. Well, especially the mop heads. And those are usually the traditional blue ones. And I'm just going to continue doing my hydrangeas that same way. Just my 4 little petals around a center, or 3 little petals, 2 little petals, 1 little petal. This little petal went to market, and this one said, wee, 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 I'm staying all the way home. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at this point. Don't listen to me. Anyway, woo, it's a day. I've had a day, y'all, so no telling what might come out of my mouth. Now I'm just finishing up this little tiny hydrangea, kind of peeking out all shy behind the orange flowers. And I really love that combination of that orangey and that blue together. So pretty. I'm going to come down here and add some more of these coral flowers. Again, I'm changing the shapes of my petals to make them look like they're curved upward and not facing straight at me. And, well, some we're going to make looking like we're facing straight at them. That's fine. And I just did 3 of those. Like I said, we are doing odd number clusters to make it more visually appealing. We are repeating the same orangey coral color throughout the composition, just like we did the blue. And now we're going back to the pink to repeat that. Repetition is a good tool to use to make your composition look more unified. Repetition with color, repetition with shape, repetition with size. But you also want to vary your size, because variation is also a good tool to use, a good art principle. So I've got my other 2 roses painted. So I'm going into a yellow, and it's kind of a khaki color almost, or yeah, khaki color yellow. And these flowers, I'm just making them up. I'm just doing sort of long ovals going down an imaginary stem. I have the stem drawn, but I haven't painted it yet. So I'm just doing really long ovals, and I'm just randomly putting them on this stem. I'm not really doing a particular shape for the whole flower. I'm just doing the long, little, tiny flowers and randomly putting them around the stem. Put some on top of the stem, to either side of the stem, covering some of the stem, just to make it look a little more realistic. Now, while it's still wet, I'm going to go in with this darker kind of ecru color and just tap the very bottoms of those little blossoms. Again, just to give a little visual interest, a little depth. I like to have a lot of visual interest, and I think this one's got a lot going on because there's so many types of, well, not so many types of flowers, but there's a lot of different shapes and colors in here and sizes. And so there's a lot going on in this, and I kind of love it. I kind of love it, people. Now I'm going to come back to my darker rose color, and we're going to add some shadows to our roses. So I'm going to start in that center, because of course the center is going to be darker because it's more compact. The light's not getting into that center as easily as it is getting to those outer petals, which have opened up more. So we want those outer shadows to be paler. So add a little more water to your mixture to get those paler shadows, and make it more concentrated toward the center, which all that means is less water, more paint. And be sure you preserve those white highlights, that little bit of paper kind of shining through the layers of petals, because that gives a little bit more realism. Even though we're not going for realism, we're just going for pretty at this point. At least that's what I'm going for. Y'all paint yours however you want to. If you want to make realistic roses, you just get froggy and jump right on that. I don't care. And getting the roses done, we're kind of doing the same technique to each rose. Nothing different, nothing fancy. We're not getting our panties in a wad about this painting. We just want a pretty decorative piece to go on my wall. So now I've decided to get kind of a medium blue mixture going, and we're going to come in here and add some more little petal shapes. Now these are not going to be as many 4-petaled shapes. These are going to be kind of tucked in behind the lighter color. These will be like our flowers or florets, whatever they're called, that are in the shadow and kind of behind our other ones. And again, that gives you a little bit more visual interest and depth. We like that. We like that in our paintings. I like it. Hopefully you like it. If you don't like it, then maybe you should take up printmaking because it's pretty much flat colors. And what am I even talking about? Let's get back to the paint. Come on, people. Stop distracting me. All right, so now I've got a really dark blue and I'm really going in there, and this time I'm just doing random shapes, and they're sort of looking like flower petals. They don't have to look like exact little 4-petal flowers because these are the petals, the little flowers that are behind all the other ones. So you're only going to see like little tips and pieces here and there. And they're also, underneath all of the other layers of flowers. So they're going to be darker and you're not going to see as much. The light's not going to hit them. So that's why they're darker and they're not as defined. And there's just like little peaks here and there because they're covered up by so much of the lighter ones. Now I'm just coming back to my vermilionish color and just darkening up the edges of the petals of the coral flowers just right around the center. I just want the petals to be dark right around that little imaginary center we got going on there. Again, gives a little interest, gives a little pop anytime you put something dark next to something light. The lighter color looks lighter and the darker color looks darker. They play off each other. I decided I just needed another little orange flower up here to keep things going, keep the eye moving through the composition. So I just stuck another one up there, and now I'm going to get me 3 colors of green. I got a sap green, a sort of a turquoise blue green, and a sort of olive green. Now I'm going to take some of my sap green and I'm going to mix it over here on the side, and then I took just a little bit of that yellowish green and mixed it into with the other green to mix it into sort of an olive green, a more natural looking green. You could also add a little pink to your green to knock it back, make it look a little bit more natural and not that really bright, bright green that doesn't look like real, realistic. And I'm taking my tiny brush and I'm just connecting all my little ecru flowers together, my little yellow khaki flowers, and giving them little stems. And then I'm just going to paint tiny little long oval shapes that or maybe almost a teardrop shape. You call them whatever you want, but they're supposed to be leaves because I said they're supposed to be leaves, and there you go, they're leaves. Boom. See, I said they were leaves, so they became leaves. And I'm going to just keep sprinkling some of these little leaves among my little khaki flowers. And remember, they don't have to be perfect leaves. As long as you know they're leaves on your painting, is your painting. Don't let nobody tell you that it's not a leaf. You just no, they just don't see your genius. That's what it is. They cannot see the genius of your leaves if they don't think that they are leaves. But as long as you say they are, is your painting, there you go. They're leaves. Boom. Just keep sprinkling those around. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. I am on a roll with these leaves. I'm just putting them everywhere. Everywhere. Now my dog's barking. Somebody's coming in the house. Y'all, we almost finished with this. So now I'm taking my lighter green and just doing a cluster of larger leaves. I'm leaving a little bit of the white of the paper to look like a little tiny highlight. That's optional. Do whatever makes you happy. Then I'm adding a little bit of that blue-green as a shadow. Then I'm going to go ahead and add some of these darker leaves around, just doing clusters. There is no rhyme or reason. It's all random stuff. Nothing, What I'm doing is I'm just trying to fill up the space, and I want to do it with different types of foliage. I want different clusters, different shapes, different colors. And I'm also adding in some shadows while they're still wet. I'm just dropping in darker green. But I also want to think about texture. So some of my leaves are going to be a little bit different than the others, different shapes. Like maybe right here we'll just do a feathery, you know, not really a fern, but just sort of a feathery type of foliage to give it some more texture and visual interest. Also, I like the darkness of this contrasting with the lightness of the flowers. So that is a good rule of thumb, is to try to vary your texture of your leaves, the shapes and the sizes, as well as the colors. And I decided I would do a little eucalyptus thing here, and that's just a stem with little boobies on each side. And by that, I just mean two circles on each side, but for some reason, they always remind me of little boobies. And I'm going to do some more feathery foliage. You want to kind of incorporate, repeat the different shapes throughout your composition to keep your eye moving and to make it unified. And I'm going to do some more booby plants here, some more eucalyptus with little boobies on each side of their stem, little circles. I love eucalyptus. I have never grown it, but I love it. I know some people that have, I just have not. But I do love it. I love the way it smells. I love the way it looks in a bouquet. It's really pretty. And I think it's a little bit funny, but probably only to my 12-year-old boy mind. And I'm just going to come in here and overlap some foliage in the center of the floral arrangement, and then just do some little smattering, just some little marks, just brush marks all around using some of the paler green, just filling up space. No rhyme or reason right now. I'm just randomly putting in more foliage, and I'm just doing little leaf shapes, and all I'm doing is brush strokes, really just oval brush strokes. And I mixed up a really dark concentrated color, and I'm just doing tiny dots for the center of my little orange flowers. And that dark mixture, all it was like a red, a yellow, and a blue mixed together, and that makes a dark mixture as long as the original colors are dark enough. Then I'm just taking some of my other blue, the lighter blue, and just kind of intermixing it with those outer foliage leaves, those outer leaves, just to bring some of that blue out into the composition. Then I let it dry, and I'm going to cut it out. And now that I'm watching this, I think I should have cut it out with my oval cutter instead of my scissors. But here we are. I am always just winging it. I got a little inexpensive frame. I'm going to put uh, my painting in that frame and secure it down. Voila. And I think I am going to put a little rub and buff around my frame because it's a little too shiny for me, but I think it's beautiful anyway. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time. Shout out to my patrons. Without you, I couldn't do this. Thanks, guys.